Hello everyone, welcome to the Handmade channel. Today I'm challenging myself. I'll sculpt a car from clay in 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month. This is going to be interesting. I've never done anything like this before. I hope you'll enjoy this new series. All my clay cars that I made before were detailed and complex, and it took me a month or even more to sculpt them. This time I'll be sculpting for speed, not for quality. I wanted to sculpt a 2006 Lamborghini Gallardo, so I should end up with 4 cars of different sizes and different levels of detail. I can't wait to start sculpting, but first I need to prepare for it. For the first car, in 1 hour I printed out small blueprints so I could make roughly similar body shapes. I'll sculpt by eye, using these blueprints as a reference. But for now, I don't even know if I'll be able to make something that looks like a Lamborghini in just 1 hour. Next, I'll need the modeling clay. I took 2 green bars like this, also half a black one for the wheels and windows and a bit of white and red for the headlights. So, the materials are ready, all that's left is to set the timer for an hour and I'll start sculpting. The first thing I start doing is combining the 2 bars of modeling clay into one to give it a general shape. I cut off the excess from the top of the body and shape the upper part of the car with my fingers, trying to do everything quickly. I place the blank against the drawing and see what needs to be added to the side of the clay to make it a bit wider. I blend it with my fingers into the main shape of the clay. And once I've given it the general shape, I need to remove the excess clay from the front, back and sides of the car. After that, I mark the area of the windshield, windows and roof. Cut off the excess clay from the side of the body with a thin blade and then smooth the edges with my fingers. And I end up with a shape like this. Next, I cut out the wheel arches and I'll sculpt the wheels separately. It's also not easy to hold the car in my hands because the clay is soft and I'm constantly damaging the shape of the body a little. Now from above, I highlight the part to be removed. This will be the engine hood. I smooth it out a bit, evening out the rough spots. I cut out the top areas for the air intakes to the engine as well as the side elements. I make some rough notches on top, not focusing too much on it, and after 25 minutes I end up with this shape which already resembles a Lamborghini. Next, I cut out a spot for the license plate on the rear bumper. And now I take some black clay, make it very thin by flattening it with my fingers, apply it to the car and cut out the windshield by eye. And in the same way, I glue the side window and the elements on the front bumper. Next, I make the rear part by gluing these small black pieces. I glue on the rear red lights and the front ones made of white clay. Then I start making the wheels. I cut out small rings and glue them onto the car. But I still need to make at least some kind of rims. So I make a round wheel rim out of a thin thread and clay, and here's what I managed to sculpt in 1 hour. We'll take a closer look at it later along with all the other cars, but for now, let's move on to sculpting the second car in 1 day. Now I take a different NSP clay, which is very hard. I place the blueprint on the rolled out sheet of clay and cut out the base. Here I'm already working strictly according to the blueprints, since I have enough time for it. Then I cut out the side part of the body, which I need to glue onto this base. But first, I make the wheel arches by gluing on these little parts. I cut out the side element of the body, and now I glue the side part to this very base. Next, I highlight the upper body elements, add some modeling clay, and build up the necessary shape. I use a tool to cut off the excess and smooth out the surface. After cutting out the rear part, I glue it in place onto the whole structure, piece by piece. Then I make the front part. Then I filled all the space with sculpting clay so that I could place the hood on top and it wouldn't cave in. In the same way, I filled the interior and engine areas with clay. I installed these blanks for the roof and then I glued the windshield with the roof on top in another layer, having previously painted the window areas and the front and rear elements of the car black. Next, I take a piece of blue clay, flatten it by hand, and then turn it into a very thin layer of clay, which I will use to cover this car. I press the clay with my fingers and carefully highlight all the curves of the car body, cutting off the excess. and this is how I cover the entire car. And I end up with this blue Lambo, but it's missing wheels. And here's how I made them. I take some clay, roll it out, and cut out these small wheels. Then I cut out the rim using a template, paint it, and paint the wheels as well, then put them together. I glue on the rim and then the black rubber. I install the finished wheels on the car, and it's ready. And in just one day, I managed to sculpt this. We'll take a closer look at it later. And now I'm starting to sculpt the car in just 1 week. It will turn out more beautiful and detailed than the previous ones. As you can see, the scale has increased, as has the time needed to create it. That's why I can spend more time on the details and refinement of this car. Basically, I'm building it the same way as the previous car, only the size has increased. After cutting out the side surface, I use my fingers to shape the rounded forms of the body by bending the clay. I fit it in place and make sure everything matches. Then I attach these two panels, and this is the structure I get. Next, I shape the wheel arches and make the rear part. I install these elements and cut out a spot for the license plate. Then I make the upper parts by adding clay, smooth out the surface, and install the front bumper. I attach the base for the headlights to this kind of hood and install it in its place. I put a partition between the engine and the cabin and place this kind of central tunnel in the middle. On the hood, I mark out the grills for the engine and put it in place. After making these door panels, I put them inside the cabin and paint them black. I make the dashboard without worrying too much about the details, just doing the basics. This is how I make the seats and install them in their places. And the last detail in the interior is the steering wheel. I also glue it to the whole structure. I attach these little parts for installing the roof, put in a wire for strength and fill the space with modeling clay. I stick on the roof pillar itself. Then I take red modeling clay and knead it until it's thin and even to cover the roof with it, and I install it in place, and in an obvious way, I give the car its color. Next, I make the wheels. I cut out 12 small circles like this and join them in groups of 3 to get the right wheel width. I cut out a disc like this, attach it to the wheel and wrap it in a tire. The final assembly stage has come. This is installing the wheels in their places, and voila, the car is ready after a week of sculpting. So now I have 3 Lamborghinis, one made in an hour, one in a day and one in a week. Now I have the most difficult task ahead of me, to sculpt a 4th Lamborghini in an entire month, and how I sculpted and worked on the highest quality and most beautiful version of the Lamborghini. You can already watch it in a separate video on my channel by clicking the prompt above or the link in the description. First, let's take a closer look at the car made in 1 hour, and at the end I'll show you what the Lamborghini turned out like after a whole month of work. Since there wasn't much time, I tried to quickly make the main features of the Lamborghini, and I think I managed to do it. You can really recognize the Lamborghini in it, even though it's very crooked. The only thing is, it turned out a bit too narrow and it should be a little wider. But for 1 hour, if you don't nitpick too much, I think it's actually pretty good. At first, I doubted anything could be made in just an hour, but it turned out to be very possible. Write in the comments, would you be able to sculpt some kind of car in 1 hour? It would be interesting to read. And for clarity, so you can understand the scale, here it is, next to a Hot Wheels car. As we can see, the scale turns out to be a bit smaller than Hot Wheels. And now, after just 1 day of work, the car already looks much better. The body lines and recognizable features are clearly visible. And its width turned out just right, the wheels are much nicer now, and its scale is about twice as big. And now the Hot Wheels looks smaller compared to it. And here's the difference between the cars after an hour and after a day. It looks much better and nicer. Of course, I didn't do any interior detailing on them because there just wasn't enough time and the scale is too small. But the next model actually has an interior, and it's even bigger than the blue one, about 3 times bigger. This is probably 1/36 scale. The body detailing here is even better, and the wheels are more beautiful, matching the shape of the original. The interior detailing steering wheel, seats and dashboard are present, but without small details and buttons. I even made small side mirrors, although they turned out to be very fragile. I try not to break them when I pick it up. It already has a spoiler at the back, which the previous cars didn't have, and the headlights are more clearly defined. Compared to the blue one, it looks even better, already like a good toy car. At first glance, you wouldn't even say it's made of modeling clay. And finally, the moment everyone has been waiting for. Look at what I managed to make after a month of work. Here, there's already detail everywhere and the correct proportions of the body. Beautiful, original, detailed wheels with brake discs and calipers, small meshes on the radiator grille, and detailed headlight optics. Plastic transparent windows with windshield wipers and a beautiful brightly colored detailed interior. I spent 31 days working on all this beauty. And if you compare it to the other cars, the difference is surprising. In a month, I made a car that's no worse, and in some ways even better, than the store-bought collectible ones or plastic model kits. And if I made such a cool model in a month, I'm curious. What would a clay car look like if I spent 2 or even 3 months on it? And I already have such a model for you. This is a Nissan GT-R 35 in 1/24 scale, just like the Lamborghini. And I'll repeat, this is made out of modeling clay. But here, I didn't use colored clay for painting, I actually used paint. All the parts here are painted, so they don't look like they're made of clay. It took me more than 3 months to make it. Even the wheels and brakes are made of modeling clay, but not just any clay, it's very hard NSP. This is the best model I've ever sculpted. There's detail in absolutely everything here, an incredibly beautiful interior down to the smallest buttons, a fully detailed engine, wheels that turn with tread patterns highlighted, and even detailing on the underside of the car. How I created this masterpiece from scratch, entirely with my own hands, you can see in this video. The link to it will also be in the description. Let's get back to the topic of the video. The latest Lamborghini, compared to the red one, turned out much better, and compared to all the others as well. You can see how much bigger it is than the others and how much higher its level of detail is. It's as if it's not made of clay at all and shouldn't even be compared to these little cars. That's how I managed to sculpt these little cars. I hope you found it interesting and liked the new video format. These 3 little Lamborghini replicas will stay in my small collection, and I'll smash the biggest and most beautiful Lambo. I'll do a durability test, kind of like a crash test, just like I usually do on my channel. Because I built it specifically for this purpose, and the design is meant to withstand damage, while the other cars are sturdy and filled with modeling clay inside to last longer. If you want more videos like this, write about it in the comments and give more likes. So I can see that you liked this idea, which was suggested to me by a subscriber named Phantomas. And I decided that this is definitely worth trying to do. For that, I'm very grateful to him. Subscribe to my Telegram channel, where I post exclusive photos of the sculpting process of my works, and you'll also stay up to date with all the channel news. Also, all my new videos will now be released on VK Video as well. Subscribe so you don't miss new and interesting videos, and of course, subscribe to the main YouTube channel. If you're here for the first time and you like my plasticine creations, thank you all for watching this video. Goodbye everyone.